will shut off now.
Alrighty. Thank you all for coming. I know it's kind of cold outside. I promise that when we do the walk around, we'll make that very, very short, both for both our benefits here. My name is Roger. I represent Merchant Short-Term Leasing. We are a company out of New Hampshire. We've been doing this for some 40+ years, providing vans and other vehicles to colleges, universities, and summer camps. We have not had an incident in all that time. Part of why we do this is to make sure that we don't have an incident in the future. One of the things we do is we do a lot of summer camps, do a lot of colleges, do a lot of universities. One of the concerns that we share, and they're all in common, is we do a lot with youthful drivers. Some of us at the table probably don't qualify for youthful, but we are going to have a lot of youthful drivers, and I like to touch base. What this is nothing more or nothing less. We take a defensive driving course. This is a DDC 6. It's a 6-hour defensive driving course that if you were to have 1 or 2 violations on your license in a short period of time, the judge may allow you to say, okay, you're going to lose your license for a period of time. In addition, before you get your license back, you're going to have to take a refresher course. What I do is I take defensive driving course techniques and I apply it to the van. So what I've done is I've merged defensive driving with driving a van, because a van has different characteristics, and a lot of the younger drivers have not experienced driving a larger car, particularly in this day and age, because we've gone to smaller cars and the evolution to that. This is an interactive course. Please feel free to interject at any time. I like the input. I like the experiences. I'd like you to share that with me. Okay, so if you have stuff that you can add and make this a little bit more credible, I'm all for it. A lot of times I was telling Sharon what I like to do is take some of this, because I do deal with colleges and I do deal with a lot of people that have a lot in common. It allows me to take this back and promote this to some of the other schools and universities that we do business with. Okay, so again, my name is Roger. Any questions at all, please feel free. First thing I'm going to ask is, how many at this table have been involved in an accident? It's usually the case. How many rear-end accidents? Yeah, it's usually predominantly. Anybody watched the news last Monday or Sunday in New Hampshire? 52 car pileup, 93. Okay, that's probably about 10 minutes from where we are. That is a notorious stretch of road. At 93, we go into 3 lanes into 2 lanes. We're going to touch base on some of that, winter driving, snow squalls, driving too close, slippery roads and icy roads, and congested traffic. So we're going to talk about some of that. That's what we're going to try to avoid. Okay, so again, feel free. We'll start with some statistics. I'm not a big fan of statistics, but it does drive home why do we all do this. This was 2004 is when I pulled these off of. New Hampshire are roads within the country. Okay, 44,000 fatalities per year. Okay, we look at the war in Iraq, we're up to about 5,000, not to minimize that, but if you compare that, there's a lot of people that unfortunately die on the roads in this country every year, 44,000. There are 4.6 million accidents per year, and they range anything from, bumper crumper to obviously fatality. You can expect each one of us, on average, to be in some kind of an accident 1 every 10 years. Statistically, 2008, I've seen a lot, not a lot less, but a decent amount of accidents less. And the reason for that is probably twofold. One, we're becoming better drivers, but I think more importantly, it's just not as much driving on the road, not as many people due to the economy. But it's the first year in a number of years that some of these statistics have actually been reversed. Okay. Who would like to tell me a little bit about rear-ending? Who was in a rear-ending? In the front or the back?
I rear-ended someone.
Okay. So you were the perpetrator.
I was hit from behind, and which forced me to hit the car in front of me, so it was a big reference.
So you would have been one of those 52 cars on Sunday. Okay. Anybody else?
Well,
the eyes offsetting the process. So that's an important note, and we're going to touch base upon that when we do the walk around some of the things. Who was the other one that hit somebody in the back? You were doing,
I was at, it was in beach traffic actually, everybody was stopping down.
okay, so you're kind of interested to probably get to the beach,
Yeah.
particularly if you're thinking about days like this in the winter. Okay. Anybody else that hit somebody?
Yeah, it was a yellow light, the traffic was pretty fast.
I can relate to that. So, if I have one fault, and I teach this thing, is yellow lights in me, and I have to really be religious about it. Because I see a yellow light, my first thing is to kind of go a little bit. That can be dangerous because if the person in front of you is paying attention to what they're supposed to be doing, you're thinking about going ahead. They're thinking about stopping, they're doing the right thing, you unfortunately aren't doing the right thing. So that's how that happens.
I was 17, by the way.
I was 16.
Yeah. Alright. We're going to talk about attitudes driving, and then we're going to talk about defensive driving. Defensive driving, by definition, is driving to save lives, time, and money in spite of the conditions around you and the actions of others. Can anybody here tell me an accident that they've either been in or witnessed that could not have been avoided? This is going to be one. There's one person here that's going to give me a come on. No. The tree. What about the tree falling on you? That happened to two of my relatives, my brother-in-law, my father-in-law. What are the statistics of that? Okay. Keep in mind defensive driving. What about turning, I'll give you an example. 3 years ago, this is going to be the folder that's going to be trash, but I'm going to go all over. In New Hampshire, we have Motorcycle Weekend. It takes place June 14th. One of the things about Motorcycle Weekend is obviously you have a lot of motorcycles on the road. You have a lot of different characteristics of driving. You have young, you have old, you have cars, you have bikes, you have a lot of things going on. You have alcohol, you have the whole 9 yards. Route 9, if anybody's familiar with New Hampshire, goes from Keene, goes into Concord area. One of these deals, I'm so proud of myself for grabbing a marker. Try this one, that's why we take two. A turning road, 4 motorcycles, driving the way they're supposed to, none of them were doubled up, car coming across the lane. One, I can't remember if there's 1 or 2 fatalities or fatalities involved. The car came across, and obviously hit the motorcycles. In that case, could that accident have been avoided? Okay, keep in mind defensive driving, the reason I bring this up, is defensive driving isn't necessarily what you do. It's defensive driving applies to everybody on there. So even though this poor person on the motorcycle did nothing wrong, was driving, doing well, defensive driving principles, well within the law, it's this person here. So defensive driving, when you think about that, is you are sharing the road with everybody. You're sharing the road with me, you're sharing the road with my family. So that is why it's important that we all practice that. Because even though you may be doing it, this person here needs to be responsible as well. So to get to the end of that, there is no such thing as an unavoidable accident. All accidents are avoided. Maybe not by you, but by the other person or parties involved. Okay, that's an important thing to that. That's a problem. Questions? Basic tenets of defensive driving. Are you a defensive driver? Anybody want to, what the R stands for? Let the people close by. Recognize. Okay. The U is for understand, and the A is action. These are the 3 principles of defensive driving. Recognize the issue, the situation as it's happening, understand what's happening, and then take the proper action to avoid it. Are you a defensive driver? Questions on that? Talk about how that all works. Everybody here familiar with the 2-second rule? Okay, 2-second rule is simple. 2-second rule, perfect conditions, you're driving a vehicle. You want to keep 2 seconds between you and the person in front of you. How do you determine that? Okay? You're driving your car. You have that car in front of you. Pick a stationary object ahead of you, telephone pole, sign, what have you. driving the 2-second rule, you find yourself in a sticky situation. You have, at best, if you're only following the 2-second rule, 2 seconds to A, recognize what's happening. The car is coming across your lane. Understand what's happening, and then take action. 1001, 1002. Okay, that's the amount of time you have. Okay, basic rule of defensive driving is time is space, space is time. That equals coming out of the life. Okay, so let's talk about how that works. Let's talk about how that relates to a van. You're driving a van. Anybody drive a large vehicle normally? What do you drive for a normal car? Okay. 0 to 60 in about 6 seconds, probably stops in about 150 feet, nice light car, handles great, little pickup, you get into trouble, you can step on the gas and get out of it. Nice, doesn't work in a van. What do you drive? Little bulkier, a little larger, you have some of the same visual issues that you're going to have in a van. Still a nice vehicle, a lot shorter, going to stop at about 200 feet. Anybody drive a larger vehicle? Okay. I think that, oh, that's kind of like a crossover. Yeah, that's kind of like a Ford Escape, same situation. Okay, vans. Vans are a little different, obviously. They're longer vehicles. They're wider vehicles. How does that equate to the 2-second rule? If a vehicle is larger and heavier, is it going to require what to stop? It's going to require more time, more space. Okay? So taking that and knowing that you only have 2 seconds, what do you do with a van? What are you going to do with that 2-second rule? Yeah, you're going to increase that, exactly. Okay? If you're only following 2 seconds, I don't know what that equates to in feet, depending on the speed you're going. But 2 seconds in a van, and that van takes about 300 feet to stop, approximately, going about 65 miles an hour. That 2 seconds isn't going to buy you a whole lot. Okay, 3 or 4 seconds. Okay, you want to give yourself some time here. Again, think about what 2 seconds is. 1001, 1002. You're allowing yourself 2 seconds in a van to process all that information. For that information to go from here to here to here or your feet. Okay, it's just 2 seconds. So you want to give yourself 3 or 4 seconds. Even that's a precious short time. Okay, yeah.
What's the typical person giving? Like you said, you can only control what you're doing. Most people aren't providing that.
That comes into the other. It's called being reasonable. And I'll throw this out. 95 here, 8 o'clock in the morning. If you're in a van, you're driving that van. If you leave yourself, you're here, car in front of you here, you're in the middle lane, and you're leaving yourself 4 seconds, there's space right here. What does that space become to the other driver? Exactly. Okay. So, you know, I use, like, if I'm in Boston, I'll use 128. Same thing. If you always leave yourself 4 seconds, will you ever get to where you're going? Okay. You have to be reasonable, and we'll get into some other principles that apply. But you also have to remember, too, that that 2-second rule doesn't apply to just what's in front of you. It also applies to people on the side of you, and to a degree, how you compensate for the person tailgating in the back here. I'm going to get to that in a little bit. Okay? Preventable collision. Basically, it's do everything that's reasonable to avoid. Reasonable is the key word. Okay? In an ideal situation, we'd all drive a vehicle, it would be sunny, it'd be 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the roads would be dry, we wouldn't have a whole lot of traffic. That would be nice, but it's not reasonable. Okay? You're going to have situations like Sunday where, unfortunately, you're going to drive a vehicle in icy conditions. I did have a situation with a college last year, icy conditions. In retrospect, they determined that they should not have been on the road, but it was an ice storm, and they plowed into a snowbank. Unfortunately, nobody got hurt. Okay, but icy conditions. I don't care what you're doing in the ice. We've had a couple of those this year. It's probably not, you don't want to drive through the ice, but you can leave 10 seconds if you're not going to stop. Okay? What if strategy? I put that in, and that's a good situation when you're on a busy street. What if? One of the things you can do to keep alert when you're driving in one of these and being reasonable, and you know you can't keep 4 seconds, is what if? What if this guy stops? Quick. You know, always play that scenario in your mind. And it keeps you alert to what's going on in front of you and the side and the back here as well. Okay? So yes, it'd be nice to keep 3 or 4 seconds. Is that always going to be practical? No. situation was.
Getting on 295 on the on-ramp,
Yep.
a car in bad weather conditions, and they just floored it, went out into the middle lane at 95 miles an hour, so everyone behind them had to stop.
Yep.
So I came to a complete stop, and the car coming up from behind hit their brakes, we call fishtail, and like clipped the back of my car and stopped.
Did it spin you around?
No, because I had been able to pull the brake down there.
So when you were driving, you recognized the hazard being the car in front of you. Did you see him coming up the on-ramp?
Yeah.
Okay. So whether you knew it or not, you were kind of doing the what-if strategy right there. What if this guy, and you can tell, the longer, I was going to say the older you are, I don't want to put myself in that category, but I am. The longer you drive, you will notice certain characteristics in the people on the road. And if you notice that driver, you can almost tell sometimes that that person is going to do something. You can tell by their habits, their head movements. Just if you've been following for a couple of miles, you can see the brake lights, you know they're going to do something. Okay, recognize the hazard. You're recognizing the hazard. On-ramps and off-ramps are horrible. And we're going to talk about what that means in a van as well. We have, there's another stretch in New Hampshire, I'll point out New Hampshire because I see it every day, I live it every day, and I read about these incidents all too often. There is this Route 89 in New Hampshire. You have Route 89, and what you have is Route 93 goes this way, north-south. Route 89 kind of takes you up towards the Hanover, Lebanon area. This way would go towards the ski areas, Moon Mountain, up north. You have Concord right here, Manchester right here. This is a very busy intersection. You also have a very large urban area. What you have is you have one of these little, you pull on and then you pull off. And you have a very short amount of time. And it's a very dangerous intersection because you have people pulling off this way to go to 93. You have people coming in from an urban center, the town of Fall, pulling out. A very similar situation to what you have, is you have a lot of that going on. You have people that have been driving from Canada, particularly truck drivers, that have been driving for 2, 3, 4, 5 hours. They're coming down here, and you have tired drivers. So you're getting a lot of different things, very similar to what you're getting. When you're going into a situation like that, you have to recognize the hazard. That's what that means. If you're going into an area, you're going into a tight city area, you're driving that van at night at 9 o'clock going into an unfamiliar area. You're driving that vehicle to an event, to a location in Hartford, you've never been there. Recognize the hazard. What is that hazard? Maybe that hazard is nothing more that you're not familiar with, you're not familiar with the roads. Maybe that hazard is the weather. Okay, but you have to recognize the hazard that you're dealing with. Understand how you defend against that. What are going to be your options? How do you deal with that? How do you overcome that hazard to be safe? Okay, and then act correctly in time. In that situation, you're coming down here. If you're coming down this way, you're coming to the on-ramp, off-ramp, on-ramp, off-ramp. Good. Slow down. That's one way to recognize and understand defense. Maybe if you're going to go by that exit, you want to be driving in the middle lane, so you're not getting the oncoming traffic. If you are in a van, you're going to an event in an area that you've never been. Okay? You don't want to be trying to do this with the directions and trying to figure out where you're going and looking at exits. Okay? What are you going to do then? Maybe somebody driving next to you is going to tell you, hey, exit 17 is coming up. Why don't we pull over to this lane? Oh, yeah, great. How's it looking back? You have a co-pilot. Okay? Understand the difference. If you're driving in bad weather, obviously, slow it down a little. Okay? Understand what you're dealing with. Do that. Act correctly in time. Just what it says. Okay? If you need to, slow it down. If you need to, speed it up. Questions? Defensive driving. Making choices. This is the part with youthful drivers. I talked to Sharon about this. Making choices. The younger you are, the more immortal you are. You don't recognize, you don't understand, and you're not aware of the effects of certain things. We're all aware of alcohol. Who has allergies? I have allergies. Benadryl. Anybody take Benadryl? What's that do to you? Makes you drowsy. Slows down your reaction time. Affects your judgment. Well, it sounds an awful lot like alcohol. Okay. You are tired. You're fatigued. Your been out hiking, better yet, you're at an outdoor club, you're going skiing for the day. You get in there, you're fatigued. What are the effects of fatigue? Drowsy, slow reaction time. Okay, very same as alcohol. So just be aware, just because you're not smoking an illicit substance, you're not drinking, you're still going to be in instances where you're going to have to make a choice. Am I in a situation where I am fit to drive? Okay. Going back to alcohol, 2 out of 5 people will be involved in alcohol-related accidents. It's about 1.2 million a year. State police background? Okay. I'm sure you still have a lot of good stories, particularly on a college campus. Talk to, and you have some of the major, state police. Get a chance, talk to him about some of the stuff you've seen on the highways and byways involving alcohol. Talk to a police officer that works a construction detail at night when they do nighttime paving, and talk about the nuttiness that is out there. You do not need a lot of alcohol to affect you. Why? Because you're only dealing with 2 seconds. Okay? So any type of an impairment is going to affect you. Talk about fatigue. School has a policy, driving tired. If you are tired, what are some of the methods you use to stay alert and aware? Anybody? Coffee. Coffee, open the window. What else?
Find a safe place on the side of the road, take a nap.
Oh, there's always one reason why person there.
Have you ever done that?
What?
Have you ever done that?
On interstate, when I've been going long distance, I don't know, I'll stop. It's 10 minutes.
When you guys are cramming, how many students you got? You're cramming for a test. 2 o'clock in the morning. What are you doing? Red Bulls? Come on. Coffee.
Other times the windows open up, something like this.
What happens when you drink a lot of coffee or any of those caffeine sugar drinks? What happens to you? 1 is good. What happens? 2 or 3? What happens to this? Start getting jittery. What happens? Same thing with allergies. When you take an allergy medication, very much the same thing. You get very jittery. What happens when you're jittery? How do you react? Jumping. Is that how you necessarily want to be driving a vehicle? So what do you do when you drink, when you're tired? What's another alternative? It's probably a little bit better, within reason. Water, believe it or not. If you're driving from a location and you want to stop, and this is a trick I've learned, is when I stop at the rest areas, I don't look for the closest parking space. I look for the one further away. Because the best way to wake up a little is nothing more than simple oxygen. Get out there, move around a little bit, and breathe. Oxygen is great. Gets you going. The cold weather is great. Get out there, boy, I'll tell you. You know, two below 0, you're going to wake up awful quick when you open that door. Okay, oxygen. But more importantly, recognize simply when you should not be driving. Don't want to lay this out on you. We are dealing with colleges, summer camps. What keeps me awake is that we have drivers that not only are you being responsible for you as a driver, but you're going to have up to 11 other people that you are making choices for. Okay? You get into a situation, you've been skiing all day long, you're at the outdoor club, and you are tired, and it happens. Okay, I don't care how much coffee you drink, I don't care how many walks you take, there is going to be a point where you should not be driving. Okay, and it is important that you understand that and have a backup plan. Okay, whether that be another person with a van with you, a designated driver. And in one case, and I told Sharon this too, when I talk to people, particularly the summer camps, if you can't drive and there's nobody else to drive, then call the school and have somebody come get you. Because I promise you, as a parent, as annoyed as I would be if my child called me and said, Dad, I did something stupid, I'm drunk, whatever, I can't drive. As annoyed as I would be that moment, as to get on my, take off my slippies and go outside, the next morning, I'm going to be pretty impressed that that person exercised the correct judgment that potentially could have saved, did save something, that potentially ugly from happening. Okay? So understand, make choices. We all talk about alcohol, and it's great. It's always in the front. We see the commercials and stuff, but there's a lot of other things that happen that are going to have the same effects as alcohol on you. They're going to inhibit your driving the same way. Okay? I'm going to bring this all to choices. Let's talk seconds, 4 seconds, you're driving a van. You've got 11 other people in there. You have a designated driver. What is somebody going to do? What do you do when you're behind a slow-moving vehicle? You're going to come right up on them fast, right? If you are driving that slow-moving vehicle, what is going to be your first reaction if somebody's tailgating you?
Hit the brakes. Send a message.
I can't say I haven't thought about that one. Okay, you could hit your brakes. What else?
Go slower, than you can walk away.
Go slower.
Pull over.
Yeah.
Pull over.
Pick up speed.
Fire.
Pick up speed.
Speeding.
No, once you pick up speed.
Yeah. 3 out of those 4 are a result of you being stressed and showing your anger. Okay? I'm not going to say I haven't been there. I went skiing. My son was learning how to drive at the time, so I had my son. He's turning 16 years old. Of course, with every driving, rule and regulation ever written, because he's been doing driver's ed. Driving to Okemo, Vermont, Ludlow, Vermont, Okemo Mountain. Snowy, not a bad day, but just snowy, slushy day. Look up, nobody behind me. Da-da-da. Look up again. You get those tractor trailers and the guy that puts the teeth on his grill. Really nice. Not that that's going to excite any fear in a driver. And he's like right there. And I'm on a 1-lane road. Now my first reaction is I want to tell him what I think of his IQ. Of course, my son's sitting there, and it's probably not a good thing because that goes back to his mother, and I got to hear about it. Second thing is I want to reach through, stop the car, and reach through and pull him out and slap him. That's not going to work. So because my son is there, I have to think through a little bit, and I did the right thing, which is, A, you don't do anything. You drive the correct way. Do not let it affect you up here and stress you out. What you want to do is continue driving at the posted speed limit, 30, 35. If the weather is bad, you still want to drive within the safe parameters. Don't let that person affect your driving habits, because he's going to put you in a situation where you're going to create, he's going to create a situation where you're going to get yourself in trouble. When you are in a van, and we're going to talk about why this is important shortly, when you're in a van, pull over when it is safe to pull over. Let them go by. Maybe you're going to have to take a couple of minutes to keep your knees from shaking, and to just kind of gather your composure. That's fine too. That goes back to making choices. Okay? You get stressed out, stop. Take a deep breath. Relax a little bit, let them go. Have a great day, Mr. Mrs. whomever that person was, let them go by. He's in a hurry, God bless him. Okay, gather your composure. Have a laugh. Okay, now we'll get back on the road and go. Control your stress and anger. Okay, there is a lot of that. It seems, and I don't know, maybe I'm just getting older, I have less tolerance to it, but it appears that the more that I deal with people on the road, the more I see of just bad driving and bad behavior. There's a lot of it. Okay? So you've got to control your stress and anger. Questions? Anybody have a situation where they got a little heat? No? Then you want to share, right? How do we relieve stress? I hope I drink your coffee. How do you relieve? If you're in a stressful situation, you drive. You get in the car, what do you do? First thing you do to relieve stress. You had a crappy day.
Music.
Music? What kind of music?
Music I can sing to.
Okay. That's a good one. Music's always a good one. What else? Take this. Go down. And where it says, turn off. Turn it off. Because the last thing you need when you're driving, when you're stressed, you're resisting, ringing, and all that stuff. Okay, turn it off. Put it aside. What else?
Actually, sadly, that's what I do to relieve the stress, is get on the phone.
Yeah, my wife's going to
Okay,
be
admit it.
Can't get hold of us just driving.
Exactly.
I saw a guy playing guitar while driving once. He seemed pretty unstressed.
I would
Yeah, doesn't do much for your stress.
I would bring me draws while he's driving.
You know, I get the cell phone bills for my kids, and somebody tell me, what in God's green earth can you find to talk about for over 11 hours of minutes? What is so important? And now he's got a girlfriend, so I know he's going to God almighty, please. But turn the phone off, because that's the last thing. Particularly if you're in a situation, you're driving in an area you're uncomfortable with. Okay, you're nervous, you're driving a vehicle you're not comfortable with. Yeah.
I was doing that too.
Yes.
Or, recording. I got Connecticut all a lot, that's
Yeah. So, but anyways, I'll put on something relaxing, okay, and it'll calm me down, and I'll put on talk radio. I like talk radio up to a point. Okay, I'm not going to put in AC/DC. I'm not going to put in something that's going to crank me up. Okay, I'm going to relax. I'll put in a CD. Books on CD, I've been a big fan of too. Okay, just something to calm me down. What's the other thing you're going to do? What about your passengers? You want to control them too, as much as you can control a 19 or 20-year-old college student. Okay, you want to, if things are out of control, you want to get that situation in the van controlled too. You want to make sure that your passengers are controlled. While we're on that subject, seatbelts. I will tell you that if you are holding the key to that, okay, you are responsible for that passenger. If you have, and you will have, because there's one in every group, I promise you, that Mr. or Mrs., is not going to put on the seatbelt. Don't need it. Know somebody that lived because, they didn't have the seatbelt on. The police told them they had the seatbelt on, they would have been dead. They're not going to wear it. That's good. You're not going to drive the van until they put it on. Let's go back to that 44,000 number I told you. Over 66%, this is statistical, this is for a car. 66% of fatalities are caused by people being ejected from a vehicle. Over 70% in a van are because people get thrown from the vehicle. So if I told any one of you that tonight you can go buy a mega bucks ticket, and I'll tell you that you have a 2 in 3 chance of winning, what are you going to do? You're going to go out and buy what, a couple $100 worth? So if I tell that very same person that if you get in an accident, you have a 2/3 chance, 2 out of 3 chance, a 70% chance of walking out of that accident alive, are you not going to wear your seatbelt? You as a driver, you have a responsibility to both the school, because you've accepted this responsibility, and you have a responsibility to passenger. Make sure they're wearing it. If you look at these accidents, they're always a result of that. You can have the safest vehicle on the road. We've done a lot to these vans that we're going to discuss momentarily to make these vans safer, but you are not inside the van to take advantage of the safety options, then you need squat. If you pinch yourself, okay, it doesn't take a whole lot of imagination to understand that a 4,000-pound vehicle is going to do to you. Okay, I'll relay a little bit here. My son was involved in an accident in Florida 2 years ago. My son had a athletic scholarship. My mother, my son, his friend, and my stepfather were in the car. Highway 41 in Florida, otherwise known as Alligator Alley. It's a 2-lane road, straight road. Car comes out. They're going to have a great day. Car comes up, pulls out. 80 miles an hour. Here's my mother. My mother's dead. My son broke his disc. 3 of the 4 people in that car, the other car got ejected. My son still wakes up because you cannot believe the contortions and what his body looks like. And that's what, so, seatbelts. Those 3 kids would be alive today, most likely. And those 3 kids' families would not have to have suffer what they have to suffer because of seatbelts. I point that out because, we all think that it always happens to somebody else. We look at that 52-car file and say, oh, what a drag, those poor people. Okay, we see it happen in town. But someday it could happen to you. So wear your seatbelts. There's nothing else you take out of this 2-hour course to put your seatbelts on. Is that important? Okay. Questions on that? Physical. These are the physical things that impair our driving. I will relate to this one, age. Okay, I know that when I go skiing or I play basketball, my mind tells me that I can do this, my body tells me you're out of control. Okay, age. How does age impact us? Go back to the 2-second rule. A little slower. Okay, perception isn't what it used to be. Okay, it's going to impact us. Mobility, obviously. Okay. Hearing. Hearing can be a couple of different things. Don't see it quite as much in the winter, but when you have that car in back of you, or 3 cars in back of you, and your car is vibrating because of his sound system, his hearing's impaired in his driving. Vision. Talk about this in a minute, because it relates to it again. Vision. Sunny days. Glare, snow. Always have sunglasses. Okay, for one. What's happening in a van? It's a good segue. We'll stop. when you have a long vehicle, and a van is longer than a car, and vision isn't necessarily this. Vision is looking around you, right? So, you have that van. We've all driven behind a tractor trailer that says, if you can't see my mirrors, I can't see you. Okay. Vans have a dead spot that you can't see. The longer that vehicle, the greater that spot is in the rear that your vision is inhibited. Okay. What else is a van? You see the mirrors. Okay, mirrors. What else happens in a van? Rear view. Okay, you have this dead spot. In a van, what do you normally look at? You're going to look at your rear view mirror. That van is sitting higher. So not only do you have, interrupt me if this doesn't make sense, not only do you lose your vision going straight out, you're losing your vision, your depth, if you will, going down. Okay, because your van's higher. Your windows are up here, so you can't see that. These mirrors are going to get you a little bit, but you're still going to have that right there. Okay? If you were in a parking lot, particularly because you are in a city area and you're going to be doing a lot of urban driving as opposed to highway, you're in a parking lot. Okay? Keep in mind that your side vision is going to be impaired to a degree because of your windows. It's not like a car where you get a nice corner of vision. You're not going to have that. If you are in a situation where you're backing up, what do you want to do? Because you lack of vision. Have somebody watching. How many accidents in parking lots have we had here? Any? Very popular. Because you're dealing with all the nasty road conditions in a parking lot. If you think about it, you've got intersections, you've got pedestrians. I'm going to throw this out there on this. I do a lot of schools and colleges, and I'll tell you something. The most unobservant people I see by far are college students. Bar none. I go to BU and call them, and I will see them oblivious to what's going on around them. You got to watch pedestrians. If you're in a parking lot, you have mom with the two kids. They're screaming, they're yelling. You have whatever. There's a whole plethora of different types of people that aren't paying attention. You have to pay attention to them. What else do you have in a parking lot? You have obstructed vision. The cars, other vehicles. You could have a truck parked next to you. You have buildings. Okay. Worst area to park, or worst area to drive. You're dealing with it all. I've had 2 accidents. One of those was in a parking lot, and I'm ashamed to admit it. Okay, illness, medication. Okay, there's another thing it's going to impact your driving. We talked about that. Fatigue. Fatigue is, again, the thing that I worry about the most with younger drivers, because you're not going to realize it. Accidents. Who had accidents here? I haven't picked on you yet. What was your accident?
Coming out of an urban street onto a back home. There's no stripes on streets, so you don't know if it's 2 lanes.
You live in Oklahoma?
Well, Louisiana.
I can't believe it. Go ahead.
But,
Yeah, I can.
so you don't know if it's 2 lanes or
Yep.
1 lane, but both are going this way. I was working birthday party was leaving, so all the cars are now turning onto the street where I'm trying to come, and they're all big suburban. Kind of can't see, so stop and stop sign, inch out a little bit, just as it's clear to go. Someone's coming, switch lanes, switch back, just come right by.
Okay. Stop sign, did you come to a complete stop? Okay. The other person that hit you speeding? Okay, so speed was involved. Failure to yield, maybe,
That was
maybe
what my
not.
ticket was for, failure to yield.
Yeah. I had a discussion once with I lost a discussion, got a ticket, so they're not real improper turns. You know, that's your classic, particularly when you're in a city like Providence, you've got 2 lanes that are going this way. Okay? Being in this lane, going into this, cutting into that. Okay, you've got to be attention. Going into an area that you're not known, and this happens to me quite a bit. You have the 2 lanes. This one says only, one of those deals. Okay, oh shoot, what do? Well, you're in a van. Okay, that van isn't the Mazda. All right, you're not going to do one of these cutesies. It ain't going to work, okay? You're going to have to cut in. You're going to get yourself in trouble. Okay, a situation like that goes back to making choices. Why don't I go up or cut back around and go around, okay, making choices, all right? Failure to meet speed. Passing. My rule in passing with a van is don't do it. Now, let's go back to being reasonable. Is it reasonable for me to expect you not to pass in a van? Probably not, okay? Although I don't want you to do it. If you do, let's talk about vans for a minute. Your Mazda, is it a 3 or a 6?
It's a version.
Okay, still goes fast. Okay, in a car will accelerate obviously far quicker than a van. That being said, that little extra acceleration could get you out of trouble. Could very easily get you into trouble, but it could easily get you out of trouble. You do not have that option in a van. Okay, so you have lack of acceleration. We talked about vision. Okay, so you have decreased vision in a van. All right, braking distance. We talked about a van's braking distance. It ain't going to stop on a dime, folks. All right? What does passing involve? Passing involves this. 95, you're here, you want to go around. You're sharing the road with motorcycles, Mazdas, and everything else. When you pass, you should be pulling back a little bit. You're going to pull out into the lane, okay, and then you're going to come back in. You have a vision issue, so you can't see fully ahead. What if you pull out in a van, 2-lane road, 2 lanes of traffic, you pull out in a van and there's somebody coming that you didn't see? Okay, you've lost some options that you have in a car. You're not going to step on the gas in that van and fly. It ain't going to work. Not happening. Okay? Nor are you going to slam on the brakes and get out of that very quickly. All right? A van by nature, we talked about, people like to pass slower vehicles. What about the guy, the motorcycle, the fast car that comes up on the van? He started out a mile behind. You looked up, you didn't really see him. He was way off. Didn't really pay attention to him. On the course, 3, 4, 5 seconds that it took you to decide you were going to pass, this guy's already said, I'm going to stick it behind that van. He's already come off with one of these things. Okay? Again, you don't have the options to get out of trouble. Does that make sense? All right. If you don't, now there are situations, obviously, where you're going to need to pass. You're going to come up on a farm vehicle or what have you. Okay? When you are passing a vehicle, you're going to brake it a little bit, slow it down. You want to give yourself distance. Okay? You're going to pull out. The reason you give yourself distance is if you do pull out, there's something here that you weren't anticipating, you pull back in. You go up. When do you pull back in to that? What does it say? When you see the vehicle in your mirror. Okay? That's when you do that. But passing, I don't like that. If you go by your exit, what do? When you're coming up on your exit, you have to make a sharp turn. Let me talk about vans for a minute. Vans are by nature higher. This is one of my better pictures. I'm pretty impressed. Okay, a van is by nature, it's a higher vehicle. Higher vehicles have center of gravity issues. They're higher. That means they do this. Emergence policy, we will not rent a vehicle. If I see, and I pull 2 vans off the road from a summer camp that put the little things on the top, okay, the higher you go, the more this. All right? When you have a vehicle that is more prone to rolling over, okay, you are not going to get away with some extreme maneuvers that you might otherwise get away of in a Mazda or Escape. Okay? Back in 2000, 2001, there was a rash of accidents that involved passenger vans. If you look at, I don't think you have any older vans on campus, but the old Dodges, if you look at a Dodge, they had all this room in the back. It's almost like somebody said, we forgot to put the rear in, so they added it. And it just looked crazy. But you had the center of gravity, you had all this weight in the rear. Okay, so you have this going this way, and this going this way. It made the vehicle very lopsided, very tipsy. If you are driving and you're doing a passing maneuver, and you said, oh crap, that vehicle, you're going to do one of these. You're going to jerk that. You're going to overreact. You could tip the vehicle over. All right? Does that make sense? The center of gravity. While we're on this subject, when you're loading gear, you want as much of that weight in front of the rear axle. Okay? Some of these people that, because of the policy, they'll take a 15-passenger van and take the seat out. That might not be the best thing to do because you're putting all gear. So when you're loading your vehicle with your passengers, and you have duffel bags and stuff, stow the duffel bags under the seat. In the event, God forbid, something does happen, you're not having missiles going around with you. Put the weight in the front, okay? And keep as many of the people in front of that axle. And when you do have a full vehicle, then you're okay because you're proportioning the weight equally among the vehicle. Okay, so again, if you have 5 or 6 kids in here, bring them up front. Okay, not so much because you're driving around the city, you won't notice as much, but if you're doing longer distances, particularly the highways, okay. Anybody familiar with dropping a wheel? Okay, dropping a wheel is more of a truck term, but it'll happen in a van. Dropping a wheel is, you have 4 tires, obviously, hopefully. If one of these wheels drops, okay, due to construction, some of the roads, like I know when you start going down off of the Kingston side, you have these back roads, okay, you'll have the gutters, okay, you'll have the road surface, and then you'll have the breakdown lane. That will be a difference of several inches. If you drop a wheel, what's your first reaction going to be? Do one of these. You've created it. What you've done is you've exaggerated that center of gravity now. You've made it even more. So when you overcorrect, which is a big part of accidents, is you're overcorrecting, is you could flip that vehicle over. How do you want to do it if you drop a vehicle? Or drop a tire? What's the first thing you're going to do?
Slow down.
How do you slow down? What's the point to this?
You don't brake. You don't.
Take your foot off the gas.
Yeah, just take your foot off the gas and then ease that foot.
Any situation, whether it be dropping a wheel, sliding, losing control of the vehicle, an accident that you see something happening in front of you. Let's go back to that 2-second rule. If you take your feet off the gas, you're not overcorrecting. You're slowly and gradually reducing that. Keep in mind this is a heavier vehicle, so it's going to slow down fairly quick when you take your foot off the acceleration. But what are you doing when you're slowing down the vehicle? You're giving yourself more time and distance. You're allowing yourself more time to recognize what's going on, understand what's going on, and take the right course of action. So take that foot off. In the case of dropping a vehicle, this will happen a lot in the winter. I hope it won't happen a lot, but if it does happen in the winter, take your foot off, slow down. When you have, and this is when we were talking about the vehicle tailgating, and you're in a van, you can't necessarily just get all cranked up and say, pull the vehicle over. You don't want to do that. You want to control your emotions, slow it down, come to a parking area or a driveway, someplace where it's flat. Stop the vehicle, okay, let them go by, and then pull the vehicle back on slowly. If you drop a wheel, just take your foot off the gas, keep the vehicle straight, bring it to a stop. Wait a couple minutes, your knee stops shaking, pull the vehicle back on slowly. Okay? Questions on that? Okay, passenger vans are different because length. That makes sense, right? One of the things they did, we talked about the 2000, 2001. 12 passenger vans kind of came into the market about 3 years ago. They came in because basically they were forced, or the vendors were forced to come out with an alternative to 15 passenger. Taking the seats out of a 15 passenger did nothing to increase the safety of a 15 passenger van. So what we have now, your 12 passenger vans are real 12 passenger vans. They're designed to be 12 passengers, they come with that number of seats. The wheels are where they're supposed to be, the axles are where they're supposed to be, the length is different. Okay, they're a shorter vehicle. Okay, they're not as long, but they're still, it's a van. Okay, weight, they're heavier. Okay, if a vehicle is longer, what happens to the turning radius? You're going to require wider turning radius. Keep that in mind. What I would suggest that you do, before the kids come back Monday, if you have time, it's a little warmer, take one of the vans out to an empty parking lot and get a parking space. Okay, take 2 cones. So if you hit a cone, nothing's worse than wear. And you'll get a feel, or you're going to take a little wider. We rent the activity buses, little short buses, and I called it my Great American Bus Tour. I took one of those to Springfield, and it's a wider vehicle. It's considerably wider than a van. I don't think I left a garbage ordinary vehicle. You're gonna get that in the van, not to the same extent as you do in the smaller buses, but you're still gonna have that, okay, so keep in mind. And that's just get yourself in the vehicle and do some backing up with it, and do some turning with it, okay? Before you get into driving it up on Thayer Street or something, and decide, ooh, this isn't real comfortable, okay? Practice with it a little bit, get the feel for it, just like any other vehicle. Once you get a little more comfortable with it, you'll have a good judge of distance between the bumper, the fenders, and how that turns. Makes a big difference. Sight. Again, your vision is going to be impaired in a van. It's not a car. Okay? And you'll get used to it, but you got to remember that. And then the center of gravity. Okay? That right there is critical to a van. We talked about seat belts. Keep in mind, that these vans now, they have either StabiliTrak or Internal Track. This is a relatively new option that they put on passenger vans. What they are is computer-assisted anti-rollover. So computer will sense, and it'll shift, okay? It'll even it out a little bit, so it takes away a lot of that. Tires. Tires are probably the singular most important safety device on your vehicle, whether it's your car, or your van, or any motor vehicle. When's the last time you checked your tires on your car? 19 what?
No, 2 weeks ago,
Dad made you do it, right? You did it on your own? Oh my God, I don't do that. Last time you checked your tires in your car?
Well, I brought it in for maintenance and they checked the tires.
What's the air pressure in your car supposed to be, tire? Nice thought. Last time you checked your tire?
I don't know.
I do this, okay? I do this for a living. I can't tell you the last time that I went out and did a circle check on my car. So I'm not going to stand and tell you. But tires are the most important part of that vehicle, particularly a van. If you research accidents involving vans, you're going to find a couple of common themes. But the number one common theme you're always going to see in an accident involving a van or a passenger van is tire pressure, bar none. One of the things I've talked to him about earlier is we're going to put tire gauges in there. Okay? A tire pressure, anybody want to guess what the tire pressure in a tire would be in a van? Throw out a number.
40 PSI,
Not even close.
50 PSI.
Not even close. Upper.
Yeah.
Fronts, and this would be in your vehicle. Fronts are 65, rear are 85 PSI. Okay. What happens to a low tire pressure? What happens to that tire? Friction. Friction creates heat. Heat creates roll. There was one last year, Midwest. I brought it up. What happened is driving. This was a lot of these accidents happen in the Midwest. One of the reasons they happen in the Midwest is because you're dealing with greater geographic distances. It is not uncommon for them. We have a location in Kansas. Those colleges out there will take a van and go 2 hours each way to an event. It's a distance out there. What happens is you have a lot more fatigue. Okay, so what you have is tire blew out, overcorrected the steering, rolled the van 3 times. What happened, the fatalities, and this was, I want to say last April, March or April, the fatalities, 4 or 5 fatalities, the fatalities were all because they got ejected from the vehicle. Okay, what we talked about. Keep in mind, an accident is like dominoes. If you take one of those events out, you can reduce or eliminate the accident. So in this case, even this little one, not a little one, but number of accidents, if you had the right tire pressure, he wouldn't have lost control because he wouldn't have had a blown tire. If he didn't overcorrect the steering, okay, possibly would not have rolled that. If these people were buckled in, chances are there would have been no fatalities. Okay, defensive driving, okay, dominoes. So when you're doing these, okay, keep in mind that the length, the heaviness, the way the vehicle is turning, the sight, and the center of gravity. Keep in mind tire pressure and seat belts. Okay? How much of that tire, when you're driving in a snow condition, how much of that tire is hitting the road? About this much. Okay? So pay attention to your tires. You want to make sure the tread. Emergency policy is really simple. If you do not feel safe driving that vehicle, do not drive it. Okay, that handbook will have numbers to call. If you are driving that vehicle, you are in wherever you are. Okay, these vehicles, you can, a couple of options. You're going to have roadside assistance cars in the vehicle. You're going to have, they're all fairly new vehicles. They all come under warranty, the General Motors or Ford. Bring it to a gas station, have them checked. If that tire, we're going to do this in a couple of minutes, we'll go outside before it gets dark and really cold. If you're looking at that tire, you eyeball that tire, you got a bubble on it, don't drive it. Okay? There is nothing. If you don't feel safe, if you're driving that vehicle, those brakes don't feel right, don't drive it. I'd rather have it be checked out so you're okay than say, oh, it's nothing, because then you're putting another domino in play, okay? And that could lead to this. I don't ever want to lead to fatalities. If you have doubt, okay, act on that doubt. Follow your instinct, all right, and do what you need to do. Okay, that goes back to making choices. Anybody see that on the vehicle? New vehicles?
I didn't know what it was when it came on. I had to pull out the owner's
You're not
manual
alone.
and figure it out.
I have a ski area. One of my largest customers is a ski area. They have 10 vans. I pick them up in April because I always like to go at the end of the season and say thank you very much, yada yada, do my sales. Probably 7 out of the 10 vehicles had that on there. I go up to the administrator and say, you know what that is? No, they ignored it. Great. That right there is tire pressure. New vehicles, and mine came on this morning as I came up here because of the cold weather.
I did it last year when it was cold.
That's exactly what it is. And what it is it reads, on your valve stem, it reads the pressure. How accurate is it? I have my doubts sometimes, but still, all you have to do is, if it's one time you ignore it, could be it. Yeah.
Well, here's the question, you mentioned it was a cold weather.
Well, yes,
And, you know,
that's when you
do
want
you
it.
ignore it at that point? I mean,
No,
okay.
no, 'cause I will
I
take
mean,
mine.
I raised this 2 weeks ago when I was going back.
Yeah.
And that went on.
And then it probably went off the next day when it went to 35 again.
Yeah, and then I stopped and I applied for air and it didn't seem to make a difference.
Yeah.
So I just risked it, got home. And,
In the case of the van, and I'll only put it out on the vans, if that comes on, you're gonna have the tire gauge. Check your tires, okay? Sometimes just because of the pressure, the cold will affect the extreme cold. This morning when I got up in my house, it was -4, okay? And it came on this morning and went back off, all right? I also know that I'm driving an Altima. The Altimas are very sensitive to that. Keep in mind, again, you're making choices. You're not just responsible for you, you're responsible for the other people. So my advice to you is never take it. Always go and take the air pressure gauge. If it doesn't feel right, bring it down. There's people here on campus, right, so, or the gas station. There's a gas station that we contracted. Part of my doing this, I called last week. Sperry Tire, I think they're in here. But one of the things I did is whenever I have a new account that I don't have a walking area, I like to get somebody and introduce myself to the vendor. Then listen, I have a new customer, Providence College, and I'm going to recommend that if there's issues, they bring it here. Here's our procedure for handling yada yada, the service end of it. But if you have a question, bring it there. Check it. You know, I'd rather pay $20 because at the end of the day, that $20 is nothing compared to the possibilities. Taking that domino off. Tires are so important. Okay? And there's later road. Seatbelts again, 66%. You know, I can't, just for my son waking up and the bodies and just having to describe it for his tears here, I can't. Why somebody would not wear a seatbelt in this day and age is a mystery to me, but it happens all too often. Apparently, there's 70% of people still don't wear them. Some bad artwork. The one thing with youthful drivers is keep in mind that you don't have a whole lot of experience. Not a bad thing, but it's a reality. Okay? You are driving a vehicle that you're not familiar with in most cases. You have a lot of responsibility for 21, 22, and a lot of students that are going to drive these. There's a lot of responsibility. You know, I tell people too, I do a lot with the alternative spring brakes. And one thing I found is that by far and wide, the college students that participate in these programs are usually very responsible and very mature, and for the most part, not for the most part, I don't say in every case, I've been very impressed. Because there is a lot at stake, both for us as owners of vehicles, both, for the university and institution, as well as yourself. Just keep in mind that you don't have a lot of experience, and keep that in the back of your mind. We don't do these courses to scare the heck out of you, but we do these courses to understand that you are driving a van. You're driving something different. And unlike driving your own car, you have a lot of responsibility. The center of gravity is the big thing. I can sit there and I can tell you that you have the power steering, power brakes, you have the stability track, you have the Untitled Chapter, depending on what type of vehicle it is. You have great tires. Tires in the last 5-6 years have been engineered. You have no idea how much time and stuff goes into creating tires. It's amazing. And not being in the industry, you think they're just some kind of silly thing, but it's such an important part. But at the end of the day, the safety of that vehicle is really the butt that's in the seat driving it. It's that simple. So if you have all this stuff, and if you're not putting your seatbelts on, you didn't do a walk around, and you're not paying attention, then it's all for naught. You can have the safest vehicle on the road, but if you're not keeping yourself in it in the event of an incident, then it's all for nothing. All that technology you can do a darn bit of good for it. I would say that the end of a good day, at least 3 seconds. Okay? Questions? Have we had incidences at Providence College involving vans or anything in the past?
We had one of our club teams, a rugby team using that.
Yeah, I was going to say rugby, but I just...
And it was actually just in the last quarter mile returning it. They'd gone down to, I think, URI or Clearfield. We got that fine. They were returning the car from one of the streets just off campus and came onto the main street side way. One car bounced off and across the street hit 2 other cars. But the interesting thing when you talk about the confidence of the driver, what we found out as we looked into the incident was because we required drivers to be 21, the 21-year-old driver was really not confident about that vehicle. He's the one who got in the accident. We found out that he was so lacking in confidence that as we looked into it, was a 19-year-old who wasn't approved to drive, who they had drive because he was confident. He was confident. He stepped up and drove it from URI back.
But see, that's really been my experience dealing with the colleges and summer camps is I get so fearful sometimes, not fearful, but it keeps me awake at night, these alternative spring breaks, because it's really, I hate to use this, I'm not offending the younger people here, but there's lack of adults there. So what you have, and it keeps me up, is I have students that are driving a van to, I have one in Slidell, Louisiana, that had a flat tire, so that's why I said Louisiana, I came back. But I have students driving a vehicle. They're hyped up because it's something new, it's an adventure, they get all that going for them. They're driving a vehicle, they're going to an area they've never been. You're talking about fatigue because of the distances. Unknown areas, you're talking about other people. But again, I come back to, it's not so much an age thing. The people that I've talked to, they're terrific. I go to these students and the student activities people that coordinate all this stuff. And they're very impressive individuals at these schools. So I don't get quite as nervous, but you've got to keep in mind too, it's the experience factor. Until you've been through it, you don't know how you're going to react. Okay, so you have to take those precautions. Questions? Comments? Oh, the Celtics doing? Yeah.
You had mentioned a little bit, you were talking about positioning in the vehicles with, you mentioned like the 4 people, 5 people.
Yep.
We have a lot of club teams, so a lot of the times they're going to have the full. Now I know I haven't looked at our policies. I think we have some policies in place that depending on the amount of, bags and equipment they're bringing with them, they can't put in. But any advice when we're dealing with clubs that are pretty much going to be putting the maximum amount of people in there?
Spread the weight out evenly. What you want to do is just make sure that's displaced. The vans are designed, and the tires and the axles, I'm not going to get to the engineering because it's not my strongest point by any stretch. But one of the things that they did when they redesigned these vans, interesting to know, and I'll point this out, is that a lot of the vans that were involved in the accident were the old Dodge Rams. Interesting to note that Dodge no longer is in this business of doing it, but you had Ford and Chevy, General Motors that make the vans. They're redesigned. What they did is they took the axles and they actually positioned the axles. Some of us older people remember when the SUVs became popular in the late 70s, early 80s, they had the same issue with them rolling over. Well, Detroit or American industry oftentimes, the only way they react is because they react. And they put in a sway bar and eliminated a lot of it. Well, the same thing with the vans. They came out, they decided, the tires, we need to upgrade our tires and put in the correct tires and heavier duty tires. I'll give you an example of tires, how important it is. We have a ski area that bought a bunch of tires for the vans. They bought a P-Series tire, which is a passenger tire. They wanted us to put on the P tires on our vans. We did not do it. And I almost lost a customer over it, but at the end of the day, I was going to stand behind my service because you have to put the LT tires on. going back to it, you redesigned these vans. The axles are positioned, you moved them back. So when you look at these, they look like they were designed right. It wasn't an afterthought the way they put these together. Okay, and then you get into a lot of the other things, the height, the lower. I like the Chevys a little bit better with what you're driving because they're a little lower to the vehicle, a little lower to the ground. And I find in the application, you guys are doing much more of just going around Providence. You're probably going to find those a lot easier to drive than Fords, which are a little higher. I find the Fords more comfortable driving on the highway longer distance for the summer tours. But personal.
Personal preference.
You know, truckers have a limit on the number of hours they can drive before they have to take a rest. Is there something like that? Or,
You know, the standard rule is 2 hours and take a break. I would again qualify that it depends on what you've done prior to the 2 hours of driving. You know, again, summer camps for you guys, you're going out, you're doing an event, you're gone, or you're the outdoors club or whatever, rugby. So you're out, you're physically exerting yourself or doing something. So you're already tired from that. And you're coming back. Now maybe it's 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. Okay, so you're tired. So maybe that 2 hours, maybe you're looking at more than an hour. You might want to stop. Arrange that before you go out. You should have a couple of people that you have designated to drive that vehicle. Again, it comes down to just making that choice. You may not have done anything, but because of other things, you're not feeling good, you're coming down with something, maybe you took the Benadryl, what have you, that you should not drive, or maybe just you get in the car and just, I can't keep my eyes open, I don't know why, I'm tired. You know, those are good rules of thumb, but at the end of the day, you have to, what are you feeling? What are you up to? Are you capable of making a decision and reacting in that 2 seconds, 3 seconds, or 4 seconds? And that's a question when you can answer. When you feel that you can't do that, then you need to be responsible and make sure that somebody else is going to do that for you. Okay, again, it comes down to you can make these vehicles as safe as you want, but whoever's driving has to be the one that's going to make it all work. But I'll tell you, the biggest thing for me, I did a lot, I used to go back to New Jersey and Philadelphia, and, you know, that driving and walking, you go to a rest area, and just that extra walk, instead of going, even though it's cold outside, you want to get to the restroom, you want to make sure you just kind of run in the door, park over here, because it makes a big difference. It really does wake you up. You know, I would say, if you're driving with the windows open, the music blaring, or you're on your third cup of coffee, chances are you should not be driving. That's the decision you need to make. So, questions? Go online. I'll tell you, for us old timers, this going online thing is great. This Google thing is just phenomenal. But point out, there's a good, and I'm going to drop some stuff off Monday. I got to bring my daughter's a freshman here, so it's kind of convenient. I'm going to bring some stuff up on winter driving, but winter driving tips. And I did have, and it's good because it's, you always get the same, you get the guy from the news station in the morning that's chasing that first snowflake. Like we've lived in New England all our life and forgot how to drive in snow or something. It's an amazing event in snow. Maybe from Louisiana, you might find it that way. But this was really good. I have it. I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it with Sharon Monday when I come out. It's really good because it's just very practical and it really does apply to the vans. But the point being, if you go on Google, you can research these accidents. There's a host of things on passenger van safety and some good, some bad. But there's a really just plethora of information just about anything you want. But if you have questions, do that. If you have questions or comments or situations where you're involved in that I did not discuss, please let me know. Because again, if it happens to you, it's probably going to happen or has happened to somebody else. And it's just going to make, what I have to offer that much better. Okay, and that's the important thing going forward. So the vans are good. They're not,